Esta es Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Jeremiah Navarro.
un
This call is now
individuo
being recorded.
encarcelado en de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Jeremiah. How are you doing today?
Doing good, James. Thank you. Just enjoying it.
All right. So I want to go ahead and welcome you to You Have a Collect Call From, and thank you for taking time out of your day to reach out to us and share your journey with our audience.
Honestly, I vice versa. I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to, get on here and speak my truth and, hopefully just impact somebody in a good way,
All right, and then so this would be our first our first live conversation that we're going to be having. Would you mind introducing yourself to our audience and giving them a quick introduction of who you are and where you're currently at?
Yes, my name is Jeremiah Navarro. I'm 26 years old from Stockton, California. I'm currently locked up for a robbery. I was sentenced to 3 years for robbery, 3 years for use of a firearm, and 4 years for great bodily injury, and for a total of 10 years. And I'm coming close to finally finishing up nearly the whole 10 years. I have 83 days left to go, and I'm serving the remainder of my time here at Centinela State Prison.
All right, thank you for doing that. And so let's just go ahead and get into the into the interview and your journey. What's your earliest childhood memory that you remember, whether it's good or bad?
Honestly, I was curious about that. I have a lot, but honestly, the first childhood memory I do have is I think I remember it was a Christmas. It was a Christmas when I was living in Stockton. Me, my brother, or one of my brothers, and my mother, and me and my brother were running around, acting up in the house, and we tripped on the wires for the Christmas tree, and it started a house fire, and our house burned down on Christmas Day because me and my brother were running around and acting fools, and everything got pretty much burnt up, the presents, our house and everything. But looking back now, it's funny, but that's probably one of the first memories I can remember of my childhood. That was probably when I was about 4 or 5.
Man, and so that's a trip, man. I mean, at that age, during Christmas, something like that happening. What happened after? Where were you housed at after that fire occurred?
After that, we were even placed in the house by government assistance. We were already on Section 8. My mother, she's single mother of me and my brother. And, so after that, we were placed in another Section 8 community housing project called Conway in the city where I'm from. So they just rehoused us over there in it's a little community of its own. So, yeah.
Man. And at that time, how many brothers and sisters did you have?
So honestly, I have 12 biological brothers and sisters that I'm blood related to. It's just we either have same mom or different dad, or same dad, different mom. But full blood brothers and sisters, I have 3. But like I said, I have 12 biological brothers and sisters, and as far as the boys, I'm the baby, and sisters, I have just one sister that's younger than me. So, I'm the baby of a boy of 13, girls and boys total. But we all got separated through either foster care or the social system, and just due to our parents either substance abuse or gang activity. For whatever reason, we were just all misplaced, so.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
We didn't all grow up under a similar household. The only one I grew up with, really, really close with, was my older brother, who was a year older than me, John Navarro. He's the one I grew up with, by full blood. and me and him grew up hand in hand. So he was like my closest brother as far as all my siblings are concerned.
And how much older? Was he? Was he then? How older was he than you were?
He at that time when that happened, like I said, if I was 5, so he was about 6. He was only a year older than me. My brother, we were born a year apart. So yeah.
Oh, okay. So you guys were Irish twins. That's what they call people that are
Yeah.
All right, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
So you guys pretty much were you guys into like the same things growing up?
Honestly, yeah, you know, me and my brother we were really close. I mean, it's funny. I don't know if it's a similar experience for other people, but my brother was like always I don't know if it's a normal thing amongst older brothers, but my older brother always was always whipping my ass and always giving me a hard time. But anytime we would go to school or something as kids in elementary, anytime you see someone picking on me or someone bullying me when I was just like a little innocent kid. He was always quick to come in and save the day, and like he wouldn't let. That's why I always laughed when we got older, because I'm like, bro, he wouldn't like. Basically, he was like, oh, nobody could beat your ass but me. So it's like, yeah. So my brother was pretty much my protector growing up. You know, I mean, he sheltered me, protected me from a lot of bad things growing up when we were kids, when we were still innocent little adolescents. So, but yeah, I would say we were really close for sure.
And a while ago, when you were speaking about the fire and whatnot, you mentioned that you were in Section 8. What was the reason behind you living in a Section 8?
Basically, my mother, she was formerly incarcerated, and she was incarcerated in the Valley State Prison in CYA, California. And while she was there, she was pregnant with me while she was serving time there. She was nurturing me in her womb while, you know, she was on the yard. And basically when I was born, you know, there was nobody to take me in. My father wasn't around, and so the only immediate family I had that was willing to take me was my grandmother. And so she took me in because she already had my older brother with her. So my grandmother raised me and him until my mother was released from prison. And due to her priorly being incarcerated, you know, and being older already, like in her late 30s, almost 40, you know, she couldn't get a job as easily, and she didn't have a lot of support or assistance, you know, as far as financial, and she didn't have no career. So, you know, it was one of those things where general assistance kicked in, you know, food stamps, WIC, Section 8, just GA, anything, you know, that the government would offer. That's initially how we got on, because they seen she was a single mother raising two young boys.
And do you ever think about, you know, that you were actually born in prison, and now you're in prison? Like, what are the odds of, you know, of that happening?
It trips me out for sure. Like, you know, like, it's a conversation me and her had, you know, when yeah, like throughout it I always tripped off that, like, you know, I was born in prison, and, you know, and I ended up in prison. And what's crazy is I actually did time at Valley State Prison where she was incarcerated at. She was there when there was a woman's facility, and that's the facility I just came from, and I was there. Now it's a male facility. So I was actually on the yard she was incarcerated at, and so, you know, I tripped off that. And when I was there, we bond over that, like, you know, like, it's crazy. Like, I did time. I walked the yard where my mom was doing time at, you know, and that for sure is like, it's weird, it's crazy, it's strange, it's a trip, man, for sure.
Man, yeah, that's definitely. I know when you mentioned that to me earlier on. So far, you know, I've had about I think maybe 15 or 16 different individuals, you know, share their journeys with me so far, and you're the first one that's ever mentioned to me, you know, being born in a prison and then, you know, actually ending up there. So that's definitely one of those moments, like you know who would have thought, you know, you know, when you're born that you would end up there. So definitely a trip. So, like, when you're growing up, you know, what was the family, your household dynamic like? You said that you have some brothers and sisters from your mom's side, and then some from your dad's side. Did you guys ever get together, and did you grow up with them, or were you guys living like different lives?
Honestly, I would say my family was very, like, just a mixture of everything, you know, dysfunction and love, hate, substance abuse, sober. You know, there was, I feel like every family member I had, tias, uncles, cousins, brothers, sisters, father, it was a mixture of everything. You know, it was just like a potent mixture of just, you know, purity and impurity, you know, because my mother, once she got released from prison, she was a devoted Christian, you know, for 20 years, you know, she dedicated her life to God when she got out of prison, and she never looked back. She never touched a drug. She never, you know, looked back on that lifestyle. And my father was the total opposite. He was just complete rebel, you know, just renegade. And my tias and tios, same story, you know, there's always one good, one bad. My cousins, the same thing. My brothers and sisters, like I said, we were all scattered. So some of us were living out in San Jose, some were in Stockton, some were in LA, some were in group homes in Sacramento. So we always known of each other, and we always kept contact, but we just weren't really that, you know, we were more, I would say I was more close to, you know, people that weren't my blood than my actual, you know, my blood siblings. But as far as, like I said, my immediate family, it was a lot of love-hate, you know, and it's just being grown up in a toxic environment, and just, you know, being surrounded in you know, an environment that was just like conflicting, just the beliefs were, you know, like not normal. Obviously, I could look back now, you know, like some of the ways we had and the ways our behavior and the way our attitudes and perception on life were just really, really corrupted, you know, and diluted. So, yeah, my family was just, like I said, a mixture of everything. Like, there was good, there was bad, there was hate, there was love, there was shame, there was something to be proud of. You know, there was always it was just a whole lot of everything. You know, like there was never really too much love or too much hate. It was just always a balance of everything. But it's just, when the bad times were bad, they were horrible, and when we had good times, they were great. You know, but that's pretty much how I would describe my family experience growing up. Just really, just, you could never predict it or never call it.
And your whole time growing up, did you ever enter into the foster care system or what is it, placement, or were you raised with your mom up until a certain point?
No, there were very brief periods where we would go to placement due to when my mother, we got kicked out of Section 8 housing because the housing where we were staying at in Conway, my brother, growing up, he had really bad anger problems. You know, he was like a loose cannon, like as a young kid, and he would, whenever...
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Whenever he was on a rampage, you know, he would bust holes in the walls and break the mirrors and the windows. And so the housing watch, they, you know, after so long of you know, they gave my mom chance after chance after chance to, like, you know, like, keep up the house, you know, fix up the holes, fix up the damage. And my brother, you know, continuing to do it, you know, they finally had it and they kicked us out. So at moments like that, when we got kicked out of housing placement and we didn't have nowhere to go, brief moments like that, yeah, you know, the children's shelter, or we're living in a family shelter together, or there was brief moment periods like that where, you know, CPS would come in, or this, you know, social services would come in and try to find placement just for a brief period until, you know, my mother could find stable housing and, you know, a stable roof to put over mine and my brother's head.
And whenever you ended up with CPS, you know, how did that affect you? You know, going to school, and you know, were you picked on maybe because you weren't in a regular household?
For sure. I mean, for sure. Like, it really took a toll. Like, you know, early on, like, I mean, I would say, like, I was pretty innocent as a kid, but it didn't take long for my innocence to be stripped away, you know, for me to start being able to, like, I grew really smart really fast, and I was able to understand, you know, my predicament. I was able to make sense of, like, okay, you know, like, this isn't normal, you know, this is instability and insecure environment is not, like, you know, this is not normal. And I knew this. I was smart enough to realize it, even if other kids didn't realize it, you know, like, and I would go to school with this chip on my shoulder, and, you know, I had this thing that, to me, it was shameful, you know, like, oh, like, you know, I'm homeless, or, you know.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
Yeah, my family was abnormal, you know, just shame, like, you know, okay, you know, my father's not around, and my mother, even though her heart was in the right place, she just, you know, she couldn't do as much as she wanted to keep us in a good predicament. So going to school, and I know there were other kids in similar predicaments, and those were honestly, that's how I got into close to the gang life, was because I found others that were from similar circumstances. Because when it came to normal kids, I mean, that what I consider normal, I was rejected. I mean, I wasn't accepted. I didn't really click with them. It just didn't feel authentic, and I didn't feel accepted by them. So that's what kind of pushed me towards kicking it with the negative influences, because we had something in common.
All right, and the call's about to hang up. If you could call back so we could go ahead and continue.
Got you.
All right, perfect. Thank you. All right, so for those of you that are joining us, these calls are only limited to 15 minutes. So we just hit that 15-minute mark. You should be calling us back in the next few moments, and then we'll go ahead and continue. I just want to go double check with you guys. How's the audio sound on your end? Is the call clear? Is the volume too high or too low? If you guys could go ahead and let me know in the chat, at least on the TikTok side, because I see there is a few people on there. I'm doing a simultaneous stream. We're doing one on YouTube, and then we're also doing it on TikTok. This would be his first phone call in, and there it is. The phone's ringing.
This call is now being recorded.
Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
The Art Laws. Gracias, highly appreciate it.
un individuo encarcelado en de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
Hello.
Yo.
All right. So academically, in your predicament that you were in, how did it affect you? How were you doing in school? Growing up.
It's crazy you say that, because you would think, I mean, looking back, I would have thought that I would think I would be doing bad in school because of what was going on at home. But what's crazy is, for me, I was so young and so aware that it was the opposite for me, because I carried this baggage, and I carried what I considered the shame, and I was bitter. I had this chip on my shoulder, I had something to prove. So when I went to school, instead of flunking out and getting in trouble and getting into it with kids, I had this I had this mentality, no, I got to prove something. I don't care what's going on at home. I don't care, what CPS is involved, or law enforcement, whatever. I don't care about all that. That's what kids see. And so I had this mentality, I had to prove something to these other kids, these normal kids. And so I actually did great in school. When I was in elementary, I mean, I got awards for everything: perfect attendance, math wizard, ELA, English language arts. I was really it got to a point where, I don't know how it is in the other districts, but in San Joaquin County school district, they give awards for GATE students. Students that are considered above standard. That are scoring and doing very, very well in school. So I actually. But like I said, it wasn't because for the right reasons as a kid. I mean, I wasn't going to school because I enjoyed it. I wasn't going to school for thinking about a career. I wasn't going to school thinking about high school and college. I was going to school because of trying to prove a point to other people. It wasn't even for me. I was doing this to, let other people know that, let these other kids know, I'm just as smart no matter what's going on at home. I can do what you can do. And it benefited me, obviously, but I just look back and wish I would have took an interest.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Yeah, I just wish I would have, pursued it for my own interest, instead of, because I did it more for other kids, it's to prove something and show that I had some type of badge of honor,
Yeah, I hear you. And let me ask you something, because I know growing up, I didn't come from the best neighborhoods, or the best situation. And we had issues, sometimes with food and whatnot. Was one of the reasons that you look for going to school also, besides proving people wrong, was maybe to eat, or food wasn't an issue in your household?
Man, that's crazy to say that, because hey, you're not lying, man. That was 100%. That was when I go to school, that was one of the, honestly, it's, I look back and damn, it's sad, that was one of my favorite things about going to school. It was the taking the long miles walk to school, like that's one of the main things that would be in my head already. Like, all right, cool. When I get there, like they're gonna have those peanut butter little jelly sandwiches, little crust, little pack of cookies, little chocolate milk. You know, I'm already thinking about I'm not even thinking about class. I'm not thinking about the students. I'm not thinking about my little crush. I'm not thinking about none of that. Like I was literally like set in stone. Like, all right, I'm gonna grab my actual, you know, what I got coming, and then I'm gonna try to snatch an extra one on top. You know, like I'm gonna fill my stomach and get my taste buds going. But yeah, for sure. Like, you know, 'cause at home, you know, it wasn't like I said, I had a great mother as far as like mental and emotional support. Like I had a really, really caring mother. I'm really grateful to have had her. And but obviously, you know, financially and everything, we were going living off the food bank food and WIC and like the bare minimum, you know. So like me and my brother, you know, I look back like, man, you know, we'd make ketchup sandwiches, we'd get tortillas and dip them in oil, put some sugar on them, and make Mexican donuts and get some. Like there was a point where, you know, my mom, we would tell her like, hey mom, man, we want some hot Cheetos. Like, can you give us some money to go to the store get some hot Cheetos? And she's like, man, she's like, bring me a top ramen. And we're like, all right, so we give her a beef top ramen. She crush it up and put some tapatio in there. She's like, there's your hot Cheetos. I'm like, oh, what the heck? So I'm just like, man. But yeah, so there was a lot of that, you know. And then when with cereal, you know, like, man, everyone knows the whole you ain't got milk, you put water in it, and then you're like, man, but it ain't got no sugar. And she's like, man, yeah. So whenever there was no sugar, she's like, man, well, she'll give us a bottle of syrup. Like, here, pour the syrup in it with some cornflakes, some syrup, and some water. That was like a horrible mixture, man. But that was like yeah, that was the norm, though, you know. So school. Yeah, 100% agree that was one of my main things I look forward to going to school, was the lunches and the breakfasts for sure.
And you know what? It's funny that you mentioned that, you know, like adding like sugar or tapatio to your, you know, to your food, because I was talking to my wife, you know, earlier on. We were on a drive and we were talking about her growing up. You know, whenever there was any food in the household, they would get miel, which would be syrup, with a pan, which would be bread. You know, miel con pan, and that's what you know, they'll be eating stuff like that. So you know, I could definitely relate. You know, 'cause, you know, we were a hard time in it too. You know, there wasn't always, you know, stuff in the household that we like to eat. But I mean, when you're hungry, you know, it pushes you to you know, come up with some crazy ideas. You know, I remember like growing up, my sister used to get we used to get tortillas. She used to fry them up, and then we would smash up some beans, and boom, that would be dinner. Or
yeah, for sure.
or we were fortunate. We would get the ramen, you know, the chicken soups, and if we had potatoes, we would cut up some potatoes in it, throw it in with the soup with some tortillas, and man, that was dinner right there too.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's like, I just look back and, you know, whenever we're just like, man, like, I want a Lunchable or something, moms just pull out the leftovers, warm it up, chop it up, some leftover enchiladas or some beans or something, just, you know, put a little salt on it, like there's your Lunchable. So it just, yeah, I think even days when we would have like ceremonies at school, you know, the days where they'd bring cupcakes, exclusive little cakes and, you know, chips and stuff, or, you know, those were always some of my favorite days to go to school, you know, because I knew, all right, cool, we got some exclusive hot Cheetos coming, we got some Doritos, some shebangs, we got some Twinkies, you know, some stuff like that. So, because I was a fat little kid, I'm not gonna lie, somehow, some way we were broke in the house, but I somehow, some way was an obese little chunky kid. So yeah, I made sure I was
Man, it's definitely, you know, you just, you know, talking about that is definitely bringing back, you know, a lot of memories. You know, when I was elementary, man, I used to love, like, when they used to have chalupa day, and like the hamburgers with the tater tots and the square pizza, like in these little pans. So
yeah, for sure, I remember all that.
Oh man, or I'm not sure, like back, you know, when you were growing up, but you know, when I was growing up, we used to have tickets. You know, you used to have your breakfast ticket and then your lunch ticket, and if you lost it, you were gonna be SO all that day because you had nothing coming, so you had to guard that ticket, you know, with your life.
Yeah, it's crazy that, like, that's like for sure that. And then there was this thing that me and my brother used to do, and me and my brother were like, we didn't care, you know, how people looked at. We didn't care if someone was on the flight. Basically, like, he had this little method. My brother had this little dirtbag method as a little kid, little dirty ghetto kid, and he would go and get his lunch because they would watch us grab it, you know. And then he would drop whatever it was we were getting on the floor on purpose, like, you know, like it's like in a clean area, whatever. Because if you drop it on the floor and they see it, like, they'll tell you, oh, pick it up, but go ahead and go grab another one and just throw that one away. So he would do it on purpose, and then he would go back and get another one, and then just tuck the one he already took that he dropped on the floor and just still take it to the table and eat it. So it's like, it was really like that, yeah, to where, you know, lunch and breakfast at school were like, those were meals for sure we look forward to, 100%.
Man, yeah, man. And then I remember the cookies with like at Reese's, you could buy cookies. Like if you had like a quarter, I think the cookies were like a quarter chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah.
You know, man, finding some extra change in the sofa and taking that to school, you know, just to get that little extra, like that extra snack or the cheeses. Man, you know, you just talking about that is just definitely bringing back all these old memories. You know, going to school.
Yeah.
I remember like. You know, sometimes you know we didn't have shoes and stuff, so sometimes you know I would go to school and I would have holes on my shoes. Like it would be so bad that like the hole was already penetrating to my socks. So you know that's hard timing it. You know, thinking back, you know, when I was a kid, did you ever experience like any issues with like having clothes or
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Or shoes?
For sure, man, because I remember there was me and my brother. I forgot the name of it, but when we were in elementary, and the school we were going to was called Taylor Elementary on the south side of Stockton, and there was this program there for like kids that, you know, didn't have it like that, or their families didn't have it like that, and they were on government assistance. And they would take us, you know, shopping to go get. And what's crazy is you know, the first time we did it, we're like, oh man, we're about to get some clothes, we're about to get hooked up, we're about to get some shoes. And you know how, I mean, I don't know how I was an ungrateful little kid,
yeah.
And me and my brother were. So we're over here thinking, man, we about to get some J's, we about to get some Jordans. We over here have this idea in our head, like, you know, we're about to get hooked up, like, cool, we about to come stand on all these kids. And man, we go on to Payless shoe store, getting some Shacks, getting some some little like Jesus sandals, and we're just like, oh, what the heck, man? Like, so yeah, me and my brother like, dang, like what the heck? And they're taking us to Factory 2U, D discounts, 99 cents. So I'm like, oh, like, so we're just like, I mean, looking back, you know, I'm grateful, like, you know, like the people, the kindness of the hearts, you know, they do what they can. But as a kid, we're just like, man, what the heck? Like this is what it is. Like this is our. So we're going to school with these, like I said, we're looking like we're coming from the Mount Sinai with Moses with these little flip-flops, the shoes, you know, and just walking into school, and we're just like, oh, man, this is embarrassing. And, yeah, and then there was points where, like I said, the whole holes in the shoes thing, for sure, like it got so bad to where I remember I had a pair of shoes, and there was already like holes through them to where it was touching my socks were already house holes in them now. So now it's the bare skin. So when I get home, I mean, on the bottom of the shoe at school, I'm running shit. You can't tell, you know, it's all black. But then I get home and take off my shoe and my sock, and you just see a big old black hole mark on a big old black spot on my foot, you know. So for sure, like shoes and clothes were definitely something that like me and my brother were like super insecure about, you know, because we didn't have it like that. And but what's crazy is, I think me and my brother knew what it was like not have anything, because there was this point in time my mom got mad. She got mad because she finally was able to afford my brother a pair of Jordans.
Yeah.
And we went to school, and we're still young at the time. You know, he's in second grade, I'm in first. And he's going to school, you know, and some other kid, some bully. My brother's so innocent at the time, not knowing it, but this bully, like, it's like, hey, man, like, I don't got no shoes. Like, can let me wear your shoes? Like, that whole little trick right there. And my brother being innocent, like hearing the whole, you know, I don't got shoes, this and that. The kid purposely took off his shoes and was just wearing socks to make it look like he really didn't have any. And my brother being innocent and gullible, he gave him his J's, and kid took off with him, and we never saw him again. So me and my brother, I'm walking home with shoes, and my brother got no shoes on his feet. And my mom's like, what the heck? Like, where's your shoes at?
Yeah.
And he told her, and she was high, you know. And but I look back, and I'm just like, you know, like, because the dude, the kid, he didn't press my brother, nothing like that. He literally just made him feel bad, and my brother willingly, like, he felt bad, you know. And so I look back and like, okay, you know, like, even though we were doing bad, like, even when we did have something to give, you know, like, we were more than willing and innocent to, like, you know, help someone out if we felt like, you know, like, because we knew what it was like.
Man, right now, you know how you mentioned a Factory to you, man. Did you guys ever go to Fallas Paredes or FP? Man, and man, even, you know, possibly even going to, you know, Payless shoe store, and man, hey, I didn't want no Pro Wings. I didn't want nothing to do with no Pro Wings. No way. I'd rather go to school with socks than take some Pro Wings to school. It was all bad.
For sure. I was like, man, no, like, man, I'm telling you, to look at the feet on our face when we got to Payless shoe store, so we were just defeated. We're like, oh, this is happening. Like, this is not cool, man. Yeah.
Man, that's it's a trip. Like the things you had to worry about when you were a kid, and now we're older and stuff. We're
Yeah.
definitely focused on different things. But man, just going down there, even though like we didn't have that much growing up, we were happy because we didn't know any better. That was
Yeah.
our normal life. But looking back on it, I'm like, damn, like we definitely got shortchanged on it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man. So, hey, do you have any? Do you remember like any happy memories that you had? Growing up with the little that you did have.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, there was a lot of things to look back, like sad moments that we went through. A lot of like horrible things that happened, like mentally, emotionally, physically. Like we went through a lot of trauma. But one thing I say is that man, I don't regret nothing, man. I always just tell my brother that is, me and him, we don't regret anything, how we grew up, nothing.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
I just look like, man, me and him, like, especially for myself, man, I would have never became the man I am today, if it wasn't for the way I started my life. And although it was hard, there were definitely moments in my childhood, man, where like I don't remember ever being happier, just like, and it was never even about getting a pair of shoes. It was just being able to come home, man, because I know a lot of people didn't. Now I look back and I know how many people don't, have that love or care of a mother or their father or have a sibling, that they have a really, and I just look back and I'm like, man, I had so much to just, even then I knew it, I had a lot to be grateful for. And so, I mean, anytime I had a bad day, at school, or I had a bad day, running around the streets and just, even during the day in the house, so, it was chaotic, but always at nighttime, I'll never forget, like, there are nights in the house, our mom, she used to bring us around the little, table in the living room, and, she was devoted Christian, so she.
All right, all right. So these calls are they're only limited to. I mean, I'm grateful that these calls are free, because if not, I definitely would have been digging into my pocket for these calls. The state of California is picking up this bill, but it does suck that these calls are only limited to 15 minutes. Being since they got everybody pretty much has a tablet and they got a phone in their pocket. To make these calls, I would understand if they were on the phone on the wall, and they had that limit, but it doesn't make any sense. And Louis, let me see. Louis right here writes, it sounds like he's telling my story. We got to school early with the hopes of getting seconds. Praise our Lord and Savior that he guided me through. Yeah. Let's see here.
This call is now being recorded.
Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Jeremiah Navarro.
un individuo encarcelado en de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
Hello.
My bad, I did not even hear it. But,
yeah, we got
what
hit.
I was gonna say. Yeah, but what I was gonna say is, yeah, like, there was definitely there was this one thing my mom always used to do. Me and my brother used to hate it, man. And but we laughed at it, and we'd be like, man, mom's was crazy. So, because like I said, we live in the ghetto, we didn't have it like that. But she was devoted Christian, and she always had this thing where like oh, when you bless your forehead, before you go to school, or before you go to sleep. And she like, we didn't have a holy oil, and mom's being so intent on like her biblical ways, she would go and grab the canola oil or the olive oil from the kitchen and rub that on our foreheads and across. And we're like, hey, like, what are you doing? Like, man, like that's not even, that's for food, that's for cooking. And she's like, man, let me do what, and she would rub it on her things. And so every night our sheets are smelling like, pillowcases are smelling like canola oil and olive oil. We go to school smelling like it. And so people are like, why do you guys smell like chicken? And like, man, bro, mom's is crazy, bro. So just, like, but it's little stuff like that, like those, or whenever mom's the first of the month, when moms would hit on her food stamps, and we'd be happy because we go midnight shopping, we'd always wait for the first of the month on midnight, and Food for Less wasn't too far down away from where we lived, so me and my brother stole a Food for Less cart, and it was our own personal car, you know. So every midnight of the first day of the month, moms would get her thing, and we'd literally walk all the way to Food for Less with the car, go grocery shopping, and then you know, shop, get whatever we want, and then we'd walk all the way back to the pad, you know. So I mean, it's just little stuff like that. Even the stuff that was considered a struggle, which is we somehow, some way, but we made it. We learned how to make a bad situation a good one. You know, we saw how to make turn what most would see as like, you know, a really negative situation a luxury, you know. And it's like it's just little stuff like that I'll never forget. You know, it left a mark on me for the whole trajectory of my life.
Hey, let me ask you something. So right now, a moment ago, you mentioned that you would wait till the first of the month when you guys will get your food stamps. Back then, was it the paper food stamps, or was it already they had that already transitioned over to the card?
No, man, the paper food stamps, that's for all them old cheese, man. I grew up I grew up after the 2000s. I got the card.
Yeah, man. Back in the day.
Yeah. Me and my brother, we got the. Hey, mom. Go ahead.
It was a booklet. It used to be this booklet, and it had it was like dollar bills, but they were like food stamps. And then you would take that and go to the store and cash them in.
Yeah. No, I remember we never had it, but I always heard stories that, you know, we were already on the hype of hey, go get mom's wallet and let's get the card and get her pin and let's go to the store and swipe it. So it was like that kind of hype with us. Yeah.
Yeah, man. What do you call it? So you know what? I want to read off one of these messages that one of our viewers put right here on the YouTube site from Louis. He writes, "It sounds like he's telling my story. We got to school early with hopes of getting seconds. Praise our Lord and Savior that He guided me through. Jeremiah, thank you for sharing your story."
Man, I'm not gonna lie, man. That's it. I can't even explain, man. That's like really good, you know, to be able to, you know, just be able to. It's crazy how me, you, and, you know, Louis, just all three of us obviously have no matter where we were raised or whatever, you know, how different our lives are. I mean, we obviously had something that, you know, something in common. So honestly, that feels good to know that somewhere on the planet, man, you know, no matter how my day's going, no matter his day or yours, just there's something, you know, we shared a similar experience at one point, and that's just like that's really good to hear.
Yeah, you know what? I think when it comes to, like, you know, situations like this, I think we're more alike than not. You know, I had my journey, you know, through the system. You know, fortunately, I never made it up to state prison. But you know, we all share similar stories. You know, it's just, you know, some people it takes a little bit longer than others, you know, to figure it out. But you know, we all have more in common than not.
Yeah.
So, you know, while you're growing up, you know, I know
for sure, 100%.
I know you mentioned that eventually, you know, you were influenced by gangs and whatnot. How did that happen? You know, because you mentioned that you met a group of people or individuals that were kind of like in the same situation that you were in. How did you
yeah
gravitate, you know, towards them?
So honestly, it's kind of like it was where we lived at. It was bound to happen. So the community housing projects we lived in, the name of them was also the name of the local gang, and like it was the local gang was named after the actual name of the housing project. So where we could, like I said, Section 8 housing, you already know it's a bunch of low income families. You know, dudes, majority of the population's men coming out of prison, coming out of county, substance abuse, like the whole. You know, I get it, the government was trying to help us and, you know, give us a place to live, but you look at everybody who they placed in, and it's all just, you know, people that come from that life, you know, substance abuse, domestic violence, gangs, you know, everything you could think of was normal there, you know, the Asians.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
So when we would go, I mean, this was normal, you know, there was always that group of kids at school, and then even like everyone, our community was really small. So I mean, everybody knew everybody's moms, pops, uncles, cousins, brothers, sisters. So it was a really tight knit. So that's honestly one of the ways we got by. You know, when we met, when me and my brother got moved to our housing projects, when we started going to school. like I said, because of our similar circumstances and our background, we automatically just, I guess, drawn in that crowd, and we drew to them, and it was just kind of like magnetic. And we had something in common, basically, with our stories and what was going on at home, and, pops being a drunk and beating on moms, and just we had a lot of stuff that we bonded over, and like stuff that we felt, all right, this is my friend, he understands me. And so, and it carried like that from inside of school. And so even beyond school, we would kick it together, go to the park, share each other's, each other's life, I mean, we would go to their house, they would come over to ours, it was just one of those things, where it kind of like, it was childhood innocence as friends. And as we got older, it shifted to actual criminal gang culture, and it's crazy because I would say me and my brother, when I look back now, like, man, we had it, as far as inside of a household, we had it bad, but we didn't have it as bad as, inside the household, like I said, our mom was a devoted Christian, she was like super anti-gang. So inside the house, we mention a gang or we throw up a sign with our hands on, we're getting smacked across the face, like moms wasn't having it. So just, so inside the house, me and my bro, we were like straight like choir boys, we made sure we had good manners and and proper respect. Yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. But outside the household, mom's is only home for so long. She's working long hours. She's out and about, going to church and trying to do her civil duty. And so, obviously not having her physical presence around, that was our key to like, all right, let's go run around, let's go run with the neighbors, go run with the homie down the way. And it was just, whenever she wasn't around, it's just unfortunate that we didn't really have we had positive influences. I won't ever say we never, because we did have positive influences, but the positive influences weren't around as much as the negative ones were. Like the positive ones came around, temporarily, do their duty. And then if once they leave, it's back to normal. We're back to who is we're with 24/7. So, and whenever we were doing bad, the ones who were there to come for me and my brother, whenever we were in pain or hurting or broke or something, it was our best friends, uncles or tios who happened to be gang members and leaders and dudes coming out of prison. And so that was honestly kind of how we got into me and my brother got into the gang, because we both ended up becoming gang members, me and my brother. So that's honestly how we transitioned into it.
And how old were you when you made that transition?
I would say, like I said, we kicked it with, we were already, like, without even realizing it and without saying it, we were already a part of it.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
But when I actually, like, when it was like known though, like, okay, like now I'm a member, I'm a part, I'm an affiliate, was I would say it was when I was 11 years old. That's when I committed at the time. Looking back, I'm like, man, I look at how dumb stuff was, but committed my first robbery, when I was 11, and on a liquor store, and it was my, my like first. That was the first. I mean, obviously as a little kid, I had like stuff from stores and stuff like that, little candy bars and stuff, but actual like grabbing a weapon, 11 years old and grabbing a weapon and going and robbing like. And I look back now and I'm just like, well, I don't know how the hell I was an 11-year-old boy and I had it in me to pick up a gun, and go rob a store. And but obviously I wasn't alone, but that was my first initial, like, that's the first big crime I did. And at that time, in what they call differ, for the hood or for my gang, and yeah.
And at that age of 11, did you understand that when you signed up for that it was a lifetime commitment?
Oh, hell no, heck no, man. When I was hell no. When I was a kid, and I'm over here doing this, like, just like I said, I had never been beyond my city. I had never been beyond California. I never, like, my neighborhood, literally the little small vicinity I existed in was all I knew, and all that was there was that lifestyle. So I had never even, took prison into account. I never took going to juvenile hall. Like, at that point when I did that, I got the rush. I remember the adrenaline. I remember how my heart was beating. I remember how hot I felt, in my face, my body, and I just, it was like like how, like, I guess drug addicts feel when they need their fix. That's how I felt that was when I first initially committed my first robbery.
Man. And what was it? What was it that you came up on? When you committed your first robbery.
Man, I look back, man. Nowadays, when I look at the laws and how much time you get for stuff I did when I was a kid, I'm just like, oh, like man, like how and what I came up on, I looked at how like, oh, like this is all that this is how much my life, this is how much I valued it. This is what my life was worth. At that first initial thing, it was like I think like it was like somewhere between $300-$400 cash, And but as a kid, I'm over here like, oh, that was more money than I had ever seen. Like at that point in time in my life, like $300 to myself, not having to split it with nobody. Like, bro, that was like, what? Like I'm about to go chill, kick it, buy some J's, buy some Pro Plus, buy some. At that time, Dickies, that was the thing, and where I was from, the Dickies, the Levi's, Cortezes. So I'm thinking in those terms, But when I look back, I'm just like, man, like I look back, like, bro, like I was literally this dumb little kid that was willing to throw my whole life away for $300, like, and it's sad.
You know what? It's funny you mentioned that, because if you really even think about it as an adult, it doesn't pay, to commit, put yourself in those type of predicaments just because, the time that goes with getting caught. You're just better off just working at a minimum wage job. Enjoy your freedom. You'll be struggling, but you're out here and you're able to do what you want to do. And a lot of people don't think about the consequences or what you're giving up. Once you get caught up and you're in those
Yeah.
situations. And it's just a matter of time. Yeah, you could get away with certain things for a certain amount of time, but all it takes is for you to make that one mistake. And once you make that mistake, that's it. You're definitely gonna be paying in full, plus a little bit extra on top of that.
Honestly, that's 100% what it is. Everything you just said is 100% accurate because that's honestly my current, that when I got locked up for this case, that's really what it was. I did so many crime after crime after crime after crime, and got to the point where I just lived in like, man, I'm cool, I'm never get caught, whatever. I just, like, invincible little, persona that, or, none can touch me. I'm cool. I'm smart enough. I know just how to do this much to, to get away with stuff. And, yeah, just honestly, I look back and I just wish, like I wish, like I said, I didn't have those positive role models, but I just wish, the homies would have told me, like, hey, like, because, they don't ever tell you that. They don't ever tell you, hey, this is what you're signing up for. This is going to lead to prison. This could possibly lead to something worse. It could probably lead you to, having to murder somebody and all this.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
Was that the 60 seconds?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, that was the 60 seconds. Yep.
You want me to call back?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
All right.
All right, cool. All right, so we just hit that that 60-second mark. These calls are go on for 15 minutes, and then they have to place a new one. So this would be our newest guest here at You Have a Collect Call From, and this would be Jeremiah Navarro. He's from Stockton, California, and he's currently down for robbery. I think he got sentenced to like 10 years. He's at the tail end of his sentence. He's about to come home and here it is. The prison phone is ringing. All right. Let's see.
Esta es Global Tel Link. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Jeremiah Navarro.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5.
5.
Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
Hello.
Yo.
Yeah. So, do you remember? Were you talking about something before we got hit with that 60-second notification?
Yeah. So basically, like, it was just something along the lines like, because as a kid, growing up in my circumstances, I can look back, and I'm not gonna lie, I was stubborn as far as who I would listen to. Like, I was selective, like if a Jehovah's Witness or some Joel Osteen looking older dude, he'd come to the door with some talk about God or trying to just, even you just a regular person, you know, trying to help me, I was such a stubborn kid and stuck in, like, I was in the mentality, like, you know, I don't want to hear from nobody that can't relate to me, you know? Like, I'm not going to take no advice from somebody that ain't in my shoes, doesn't feel my pain, doesn't know my hurt, doesn't know what I'm going through. I'm not going to listen to, you know? Like, I don't feel like, what the heck, you know, what is it you can, which now I look back, it was just stupidity, it was stubbornness, but at that time in my head as a kid, you know, that's what I was like, I'll listen, you know, and I'll take some advice, but I want it to come from someone that, you know, can relate to the life I'm living. And the only ones I could relate to were the OGs, you know, coming out of the pen and coming after doing time, doing the stretch and whatever. But it's like, so the only people I was willing to listen to, you know, and hoping that they would steer me in the right direction were the ones who weren't going to do it. You know, they were going to make sure, like, I look back, you know, and I honestly could say, like, I know that the older ones, they had, the older folks, like, I know they had love for me, you know. I won't ever say they didn't, you know, because I know how they say, oh, a real friend won't do this or real, but I can look back, you know, and I could say they did love me. It was just really, really distorted, you know. The love, there was love there, but it was just really corrupted. It was really distorted. It was really conflicting. It was just really, it was a really twisted kind of love. But those were the ones that, honestly, I look back, and if they would have told me, like, stay in school, don't come around, don't do this, I know I would have listened, you know, because I'm okay, you know, like, but I didn't get that, you know. I got the, like, you know, come, have a sip, have a drink, smoke some, go, you know, home invasion, and just, you know, like the whole what the life comes with, you know, like go and benefit the homies, benefit the hood, you know, put the hood on the map. So that's, you know, I just wish I would have, you know, it's unfortunate because I look now and I know how much of that's still going on, you know, how much, like, older homies have the power to, like, keep their little homies in school or keep them, like, hey, you know, like, this isn't the only way, you know. I mean, there's legal ways to make money. There's legal ways to, you know, profit. There's lucrative ways to, you know, legally to, you know, you don't have to, because that's all I saw was the money. Like, that's honestly what initially, once I seen, okay, wait, I could do this and I don't got to work hard. I could put food on the table for me, my bro, and moms. And my brother had the same mentality. It was like, okay, you know what, like, we don't have to, Mom don't have to break her back. She don't have to go to work. Like, we could do it for ourselves. You know, we could take the load off her. Like, our intentions were good, 100%. Our intentions were good, but as I got older, I can see now, like, bro, the intentions are irrelevant because it's like that saying they have, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, you know? And it's like, even though our heart was in the right place, it doesn't matter, you know, where your heart's at, you know, because what you're doing is, I mean, I look back now and I can realize how many people's lives I know for a fact that I've traumatized, you know, how many people that, like, I put a gun in their face, or how many people I've, like, probably scarred mentally and emotionally for life, you know, never forget their experiences. And it's just, and I think what really changed for me is just once I realized that, man, you know, what if that was, you know, what if my mom was out there and someone was putting a gun in her face? What if, like, you know, what if my little nephews and nieces were out there, and, you know, and I look at it like that now, and I'm just like, you know, like, I would, like, bro, that it would devastate me. And so looking back now, I just, you know, I feel tremendous remorse, you know, for, like, everybody that, even the ones that were in the life, like I said, because I know a lot of people have this thing where, oh, well, if you're in the life, you know what you signed up for, which is true. I believed it a lot of, but I just feel like, nah, like, you know me, because no matter whether someone signed up for it, their mom didn't sign up for their life. You know, she didn't sign up to have to get a phone call and, hey, your son's dead or your son's locked up. And, you know, like, I just feel like I just have so much awareness now of, like, my ways back then. I'm just like, like, I was just so lost, so misguided, so just corrupted, you know, and I didn't see any other way but the way I was living.
And so, how recently was it that you finally, you know, saw the writing on the wall and snapped out of it and figured that that the way you were living wasn't the right way?
Honestly, man, I think there was two incidences that did it for me back in 2021. 2021 was the year I could say, like, I remember clearly that was the year where I knew I shifted, like, my mentality, what I desire, what I wanted in life, and where it shifted. And that was when at that time, the prison I was at, I had been I was involved in, like, you know, I was dealing drugs, like, in prison, and I had a cell phone, you know, I was living in prison terms, I was living the best it could be, you know. I had everything I wanted in prison terms, you know. I was living luxury in here, I had a cell phone, had anything I could want, you know. I had multiple little female, you know, pen pals to talk to, just, I was cool. But I remember selling. I was selling. I was dealing to this one dude in my dorm. I was in a dorm setting at that time, and I remember he was like, he was a real bad drug addict, and I would feed his habit. And I remember one time, I never thought about, at that point I had never thought about where people are getting their money from, whoever's sending the money. I don't care. I just care about getting mine, and whoever you got to go get it from or burn, whatever it is you're doing to send me, my money, I don't care. But I remember one time he asked me if he could use my my cell phone. He was like, hey, can I use your cell phone, bro? I'm gonna send you the money, but contact my people. I'm like, all right, go ahead. So like I said, I never put much thought into it. So I gave him my cell phone, and he uses it. He said, hey, some money sent, and I'm all right, cool. And it sent it, but then I start getting blown up. A phone number starts blowing me up, and I'm like, what the heck? Who's this? And it's the number he called. So I answer it, and then I answer the phone, and it's this older lady crying, and yeah, I'm just I was like, who's this? And it happened to be so the dude who I let use my phone, who I've been dealing to, it was his mom, and she was crying and this and then I was listening, and I'm like, hello, and she's just hysterical and sobbing and sniffling, and she just I'll never forget it, man. To this day, I can never forget her voice. And I remember her telling hey, I don't know who it is, was giving my son the drugs and this and that, but just he's in prison because of this, and he's been there multiple times, and just I don't want him to die and one day an overdose, and so whoever this is, or whoever's responsible, I'm not gonna call the prison, I'm not gonna say you got a cell phone, but can you just please, I know you're, you guys live your life, but can you please just not deal drugs with my son? Can you please not give him anything? Can you please but I just can't reenact how desperate her voice sounded, and it broke me. I'm not gonna lie, it had it really, because I thought of my mom, and I'm just bro, it made me I heard my mom's, I heard my mom's voice when she spoke, and it just made me really it just really broke me, and I'm just damn, and I felt really.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
I remember going over to dude after I got off the phone, and I just felt the whole shit from my energy. I literally and I went to him, hey bro, I was like, give me the shit back. He's like, for what? I'm like, I paid for it. I'm like, no, just give it back. And so I took it from him. I sent him the money back wherever it was it came from. And I remember dude was tripping. He's like, man, bro, what the heck? Because he was a real, like I said, he was a real drug addict. And I was like, look, bro, just feel me, your money's back where it went. Don't worry, you're good. But just it's bad. I can't do it to you no more. This is what happened and this and this and I had to make up some bullshit, because I didn't want to tell him his mom threw him under the bus and, whatever. So I just bro, it's bad food, it's just bad business, whatever. I can't cut it loose. But that initial thing, like I said, it just really just altered. I can't explain what it was 100%, but I just know her voice and the way she sounded, it reminded me of my mom's. And I'm just damn, what if this was my mom, And I'm just man, that's it broke my heart, it did, and it did something. And then in that same year, a month later, my brother had got murdered. He got and my brother was only 23 when he got murdered, and he got stabbed one time in his neck and he bled out, and it was because the streets. And I'll never, I remember when I got the phone call and then talking to my mom and just because it was my closest brother, he was the one I grew up with, and so those two things happening back to back, they really they really shifted my focus, and they shifted damn, bro, this is not the way to live. This is not cool, for me, for myself, my mom, or for anybody, And it made me damn, not only I decided in that moment, I'm not just gonna change my life, but I'm gonna do my best to try to help other people, Anybody who I know I can help, anybody who grew up in similar circumstances, I'm gonna try to do my best to see if I can help them, And but I would say those were the two biggest things in 2021 that changed everything.
Okay, man. So I want to bring you back. So earlier on you were talking about committing your first 211. At any point did you end up ever getting arrested and having to deal with any consequences? Out there moving like that.
Yeah, I spent some time, like I said, my first, not for my first robbery I committed, but eventually that same year, another robbery, because I got excited thinking, all right, cool, I got the rush, and so It was the second robbery I could, well, not robbery, burglary. It was on a residential area. I got caught up for it. I got caught literally like red-handed, like the world's dumbest criminals, and yeah, just and I went to the halls for it. I got sent to juvenile hall when I was 11 for the first time.
And how was that experience? Going into the halls, going to the unknown, because that's the biggest thing. You're walking into a place that you hear so much about, but you don't know what to expect.
Yeah, and I think what's crazy to say that is, yeah, because I don't know why. I had, when I first hit the halls, hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, so you're moving right now. They're shutting down the day room right now? Are you going back to your cell?
No, you're good. I'm already back in. I just had to get on my bunk. But,
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, when I first hit it, it's funny because when I first hit the halls, I remember, I don't know why, like I said, when I was young, I was, all these little movies I had watched, like Blood In, Blood Out, American Me, and all this, like, so as a little 11-year-old kid, I'm over here, I'm going to the halls, but I'm over here thinking of those movies, so I'm automatically associating with it and not knowing it's nowhere near the same thing, like, literally, but I'm going in here, like, with this, just, like, scared, nervous, whatever, this and that, and because I remember going into the halls for the first time, and it was just in it, and even though it was juvenile hall, it still looked dark, just as, it looked the same way prison looked in a sense to me when I look back on, my pod. It didn't really look any different from how how the buildings in prison look. So I remember going in and and the kids, bro, just it was just seeing familiar faces, from the neighborhood or seeing or similar familiar enemies, and I remember going to my cell, my cell, the first one, and then the first dude who pulled up on me was someone I went to school. He was one of my hood homies, and and it felt, he broke the whole thing down on me, and it just made me feel like, all right, cool, like whatever. But I was still kind of like, it's just one of those things for the first time experiencing it, and just nervous, and like, like I wouldn't say I went in there with my head held high at all. Hell no, my head was held down. I was nervous, I was scared, and just going out, but it wasn't bad at all. Like it wasn't it's not a place I would recommend, to straighten the kid out, because like I said, the time I did do there, the fights and the pencil stabbings, dudes are getting pencils and stabbing dudes with pencils in class, and so that's why I'm like, I look back and I'm like, it's dudes are in class plotting but they're not plotting with knives, they're plotting with pencils and erasers, and so now I'm gonna stab this dude right here in the hand or the arm, and so but yeah, there was like little things that, like the pleasant memories from there. Like I said, I always tried my best to find like the goodness. So there was moments like every weekend we get these ice cream sundaes. So I remember that. And but the only thing, I think the worst thing when I went to the halls was just seeing my mom having to come and visit me behind glass. That really and I think it wouldn't have.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
But yeah, probably wouldn't have got me as that. But like I said, she broke down, and seeing her crying, just seeing her, I just like, man, like it really. I think that was the worst part of it. Doing the actual time to me, like in my mind, it was just like, I felt. I don't want.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Having people that I knew there, it made me feel like, like I didn't really have nothing to worry about. Like I felt at home, I felt cool, I didn't feel like I was locked up. But seeing my mom like that, for sure, like that made me feel locked up, and that made me feel like that, like damn, this is like, like it was one of the worst like guilty feelings I can remember as a kid.
It's about to hang up. If you could go ahead and call back.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you. Hey, what's up? Hey, gracias for tapping in, El Iceman, and also hey, thank you for tapping in, KC_fan. Hey, definitely check out what is it? Love? Man, I forget. But I forget the name of the. I don't recall right now what it is. But definitely check her out. She runs what is it? A TikTok, a prison pen pal site. If you're looking for anybody to reach out to, she could definitely connect you. She's making those connections, and the _art laws. So sad, makes you appreciate life You have more. Yup. And then Melly asks, oh, hold on. Oh, he's calling back.
This call is now being
Esta es
recorded.
Global Tellink. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Jeremiah Navarro.
un individuo encarcelado en de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5.
5. Let me see.
Gracias por utilizar Global Tellink.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
You know what? You said something earlier on that, when your mom went to visit you the first time, it was behind glass. That's a trip, because when I was in the house, and this was LA County, you had contact. You were sitting in a chair in front of your loved ones. There was no separation. So, you had a totally different experience, and your mom had to sit behind that glass. Did you have like a phone, or was it just like a glass with some holes on it where you guys could talk to each other?
No, yeah, it was the phone.
Right, that's different. I never thought that juvenile facilities were set up like that. I thought they were more geared to having contact with your with your family. But that's definitely a different.
No, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, eventually I was able to. Eventually I was able to. It was that first initial, I'm trying to remember if it was 2 weeks or a week, but I just remember the first initial visit they gave me where it was behind glass. After that, I was able to. I was able to, have the physical contact and get to see her in a little day room setting. But the first initial visit, it's like I felt like God kind of, made it play out that way. So it was like something I'll never forget, because honestly, when that first time I got it like that, I thought that's how it was always going to be. I'm like, dang, I hope it's not always how I'm going to see her while I'm in here, and because it seeing her, because in her mind I know she thought the same thing, dang, this is how I got to see, I'm 11 years old, I'm her baby, so in her mind, she's like, just being in her shoes looking back, her looking at me, looking down at me, through glass, and he in an orange little jumpsuit, little Biddy K, little torn-up hair, just looking rugged, and it's for sure one of the memories that I don't forget.
So on your first day, how much time did you end up spending there?
There, I remember going back and forth to court, and because it was my first offense, they gave me I want to say a pass because I was on probation, but they were lenient basically, because it was my first offense. I was 11. I was really, really young, I wasn't even a teenager yet. So they gave me, I did 90 days because the burglary, no one was home, but that's what I'm saying. World Thunder's criminals, I got caught. The alarm went off and I didn't even realize it, silent alarm. And, but no one was home. Nobody got hurt. So just, I finished my days in the halls. And then, and they let me out on probation, for a year, stay on probation and, stay clean, whatever. But that did not happen. I went back to the halls after I got out, not right away, but eventually, I think within another 5 or 6 months, I went back for same thing, a similar burglary and vandalism.
Hey, and you mentioned that you got 90 days. Was that 90 days Ricardo M time? Did they have Ricardo M back the first time you hit the halls?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying, because when I was going to court, they counted it all together. So just every day that I was serving there, once they finally said, all right, we'll give them 90 days to, 90 days of serving in the hall. And then after that, I don't want to say, what's that called? Not joint suspension, but basically, a probation period, stay clean for a year.
Yeah.
And then you're good, But, so, yeah.
All right. So, and then when you came home, how long did it take you before you cut your new case?
It was 5-6 months, literally less than half a year. I was already, and it was for the same exact, no one home, a residential burglary. And so this time, obviously they were harsh on me. This time I stayed in for almost 2 years. It was a year and 8 months, I think, a year and 9 months.
And this was in the halls, or did you end up going to YA, or did you go to camp? What was where did you end up?
No, at that that's what I was excited for, man. I went there excited, like, oh, cool. I don't care. I got to do this time, but hopefully they send me to camp because I heard camp was, like, cool and this and that. And I did not want to go to YA because I had heard stories. Just like Juvenile was rough, but you heard stories about YA, and YA was, like, straight gladiator school. You know, it was like, bro, every time the door pops, you know, it's on site with somebody, a black, an Asian, Mexican, whatever. So I was just hoping, okay, I hope I don't go to YA, but I hope I go to camp, and they kept me right in the middle, you know. So they made me finish that time right there in the halls. So, it wasn't bad at all, you know. I looked at it, I'm like, you know what, maybe it's because camp, like dudes at camp are always running away, they're always escaping, they're always getting in more trouble, you know. So I look back at it like maybe it was a good thing I didn't go to camp, you know, and maybe it was a good thing I didn't go to YA because I know a lot of dudes, when you go to YA so young, you end up like just like, you know.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
I had a lot of friends who've been in the YA, you know, and it transforms, you know, it really does. Like, you know, it takes a lot to get a dude out of his character of who he was in Y. So I feel like I look back and it was a blessing, you know, that they made me do the time I had on my second time in the halls. But eventually, you know, got out on that, and eventually I did end up going to the YA on my third juvenile offense.
You know what? And you right now you mentioned about, you know, dudes going to YA and not coming back the same. I could definitely relate to that because, you know, I had a few friends that they go to YA. They were bad before they went to YA, but when they came back, they were monsters. Man, they used to scare me. I used to be scared being around them because they were very unpredictable. They were unpredictable. They were firecrackers. So, man, they definitely made the neck or the hair on the back of my neck, you know, stand up because, you know, if you were around them too long, something was bound to happen. Like I don't know how or what, but they would always end up, you know, getting into it with somebody. Did you ever have any experiences like that?
Yeah, well, for sure. I mean, I remember the first time I went to the Y, because I had, like you said, when I was on the streets, I had, you know, homies coming out of YA, and there was just a whole different demeanor from the homies coming out of juvenile hall and the ones coming from YA. Even the ones coming out of prison was a whole nother demeanor, but what you said, the ones coming out of YA, there's that look in their eye, there's this demeanor, just like, we're like, oh, like, there's just, I don't know how to explain it, you know, the energy's just off. It's not normal, it's unpredictable, it's just like, you don't feel safe, you know, like, damn, like, oh, and bro, and dude, what's crazy is I had homies who were like, bro, I know I'm this dude's homie, and I don't even feel safe around him, like, bro, like, man, I think he gonna punch me or, you know, dopey me, but, yeah, like, so I just, like, but yeah, when I finally went to YA, I mean, that was, like, I look back on my term, man, I think YA was worse than any prison experience I ever had.
And why do you say that?
YA, man, it was just like, bro, I mean, don't get me wrong, if you were a Golden Glove boxer, then, I mean, bro, YA probably wasn't nothing for you, but me, I went in there, man, and I was not the best of fighters, you know. I went in there, and I just, the homie told me right away, you know, he was like, hey, man, so, you know, you're here, bro, you're either going to learn how to fight, or you're going to learn how to take an ass whooping, one of the two, or both, maybe, you know, so, because every dog has his day, but when I first went in, he gave me the get down, and I'm just like, bro, this is going to suck, and because he's telling me, bro, every day you're running a fade, you know, like, there's no... Every single day, like literally, you're gonna run a fade with somebody for some reason. And what's messed up is that in YA, at least in prison, you know, when I came to prison, when stuff happens, it's for like majority of the time, 9 out of 10, it's for a righteous reason. But in YA, it was on some. Oh, this dude turned off the cartoons. Hey, bro, this dude's using the pencil sharpener. Woo, like, bro, so I'm like, what the? Like, I look back and I'm like, bro, this is like some stupid shit. But yeah, I'm just like, so, but when I went there, and I remember, you know, like, you know, where are you from, this and that, and just these little crazy policies. All right, well, you got to run if you want to, like, you want to post up here, you're going to run all the fade with all your homies from the area, boom, back to back, no stopping. I'm like, what the hell? Like, and I'm like, bro, like, what the fuck? Like, what if I say no? It's like, we just pack you out. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? So, I'm like, all right, fuck it, let's run the fade then. So, yeah, so I'm over here just like, I'm like, damn, like, all right, cool, and, yeah, and it just sucked because I remember in YA, man, it's either two things are going to be hurting, bro, whether you're winning or losing. Because it's like if you're winning, it wasn't considered a win or to win because it's like, okay, you beat somebody up, then your knuckles are hurting, you're bruised, your hands are messed up, and so anytime you fight after that, your hands are hurting while you're fighting, you know. But or you could be the other dude and your face is hurting all day. So it's one of the two. You're gonna fight. You're either gonna win or lose, but either way, you're still walking away. Your face is either gonna be hurting or your knuckles are gonna be hurting. So it's like, to me, it was kind of like. I was like, damn, like it sucks. So just I got in a lot of fights and just like with every race, Asians, blacks, Mexicans, and it was always for, like I said, for just different bullshit reasons. But just it was just, I think it sucked because it was nonstop. Like at least in prison, there's gaps and there's periods. Like okay, maybe maybe something.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
But maybe someone gets booked, but it's like spaced out. Like something really bad only happens every so often, every couple weeks, every couple months, or maybe sometimes even a year. But in YA, it's like every day. You don't got to worry about getting killed, but you just for sure you're either gonna get your head knotted up, you're gonna get your nose broken, you're gonna get your knuckles misplaced, or it just or you're gonna get your wind knocked out of you, and it get dropped on your head, get kicked in the face or something. It's just when you're coming out the cell, and one of those things is going to happen. You don't know which part of your body it's going to be, but something's going to be in pain after this. By the end of the day. And so it was just like it wasn't really physically painful. It was more emotionally, mentally, just exhausting. It was like, bro, like coming out and knowing, like, bro, what's it going to be today? Where, like, what part of my body am I going to have to ice up today? Fucking, how am I going to sleep tonight because of my face is hurting or my head is hurting? And it's just like. It was just mentally and emotionally like fatigue, just exhausting, and just like it sucked.
Hey, let me ask you, because I don't think you mentioned it. How long were you committed to the California Youth Authority, and what was your controlling case on that?
When I was there, in the CYA, it was just I did like a year and 4 months, like a year. I think it was about a year and 4. It wasn't no year and a half. It was like probably about there a year and 4 months. And it was for the same thing again, another burglary. I thank God none of them were robberies, because robberies were serious, but it was another burglary, a residential burglary. So that was like my MO up until that point. Like when I was coming in, they already knew, okay, this dude, another house, another lick. So, but like I said, I was literally, I'm not lying when I say it, I was one of world's dumbest criminals, because I got my nickname because of when I got caught the second time and the third time. I had this nickname called Bareface, and it was literally because I would never wear a mask, when I would go and, break into these out, like cameras or not, like, I was just that dumb kid who just, whatever, I don't care, like, bro, I'm with the shit. And I look back now, I'm like, bro, I was just stupid, just like ignorant and retarded. And so I'm over here and walking around white, like, all proud of my name, and not realizing now, like, bro, I look back, like, bro, like, I was proud of being a dumbass, like, so I'm just like, bro, like, yeah, so when I went there, it was same thing, burglary, and same thing. They gave me but it was this one, like I said, I didn't actually steal anything of, like, real value, because I know at that time they started putting more emphasis on, like, how much property was stolen, what was taken, and on this one, it was just, jewelry and some, like, lightweight, like, it wasn't nothing I didn't break. It wasn't no breaking and entering. I didn't kick no doors in. I didn't break no windows. It was just the house was open, so... So even that, a year and 4 months was considered, it was lenient, because I knew I was still going to get out on probation. And when I finally got out, like I did that time in there, which was, like I said, just horrible. Like I don't miss, there's nothing I can say I miss about YA at all. Like with juvenile hall, I could say there's things I like some good memories. In prison, I could say there was some good, but YA is not a place there's nothing about it I miss at all or have a good memory. I'm cool.
And what facilities did you end up going to when you were in YA?
Chad and OH, the ones in Stockton.
And how old were you, and what year?
Go ahead.
How old were you when you went to YA, and what years were you there?
I just turned, not just turned, I was getting ready to turn 16. And so, what was that, 2014, I think? Yeah, I was in 2014, 2014, got out 2015, and then I remember, because then I ended up coming back, I remember catching this case that I'm down for in 2016. So I was I was 15, about to turn 16, and then got out when I was 17, and then, just about to turn 17, and then I wasn't out for, I think, maybe like 8 months or something when I caught this case.
8 months? Damn. Yeah, you
Le
didn't
queda
last.
un restante de 60 segundos.
You didn't last too long, and if she just hit us with that 60-second mark, if you want to go ahead and call back, we could go ahead and continue. It's
Yeah.
totally up to you. I know we've been on. Let me see, how long have we been? We've been on for an hour and 20 minutes. So if you wanna keep on running it, let me know how long you want to stay on for. If not, then we could always schedule for tomorrow.
We could do one more.
All right, cool. Let's run it then. All right, yeah, he's young, man. He's probably one of the youngest people that had come on so far. So I think he's 20. What is he? 20? I think he's like 26, 27. He's relatively young. So he's gonna be coming out in his late 20s. So we're just gonna go and wait for him to call back. Oh man, just got hit. My bro is doing 32 years in there. Oh snap! In California, man, definitely not the place to be right now. So right now we're waiting for Jeremiah to call back, and once he calls back, there it is. The prison phone is ringing.
This call is now being recorded.
300. Okay.
Esta es Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Jeremiah Navarro.
un individuo encarcelado en de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5.
5.
Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello.
Yo.
All right. So right now, when I was waiting for you to call back, I got a notification from TikTok saying that they detected some type of hate speech and whatnot. So sometimes like some of the words that we use and whatnot will get us flagged. So like if anybody comes up not breathing or when it comes to using certain things, it's probably best not to use like the exact terms, because if not, they'll flag the streams and shut us down. We got to be a little bit more PG-13, because sometimes younger kids might be in here. So, and I'm not trying to get shut down. It's
okay.
Yeah. My apologies for not informing you of that in there. So we have Anna on TikTok. She's asking us. She wants to know why you're in there for.
Yeah. This case right now is the one I got locked up for. It's a robbery I committed in 2016. I had a co-defendant. I committed basically I had a homie who I got him to go scope out the store because he was a clerk in the store basically, and the dude who owned it. He was one of those Arabian, an Arabian store owner, and had money and was like always letting it be known, flexing it. And so, my homie, he worked inside the store as a clerk, and Stockton is super ghetto. Like I said, everybody, you could be straight hood with it, and you'd be working at McDonald's or Walmart, whatever, and so he told me about it, and I convinced him to, hey, scope it out, and like what's the schedule like, and this and that. And
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Yeah, I convinced him to do that, and so the day came, and I had him do it, and had him walk out, and I did it by myself. I went there, and gunpoint to the store owner, and but like I said, what the thing was, like I said, was trying to, really, I'm glad I got what I got, because, like, they could have, like I said, I was, basically it wasn't supposed to be a robbery, like my co-defendant were planning to, kidnap and stuff like that, so, so I ended up, like I said, but this dude, the store owner, he ended up having, he had balls, and he was like, he stood his ground, whatever, so I pistol whipped him, and then he ended up, complying, and, yeah, and then, you know, he ended up giving whatever it is he had on him right there at the moment, his watch, his phone, his money, the whatever was in stuff, and yeah, so took off with that kind of because one point he tried to grab the gun, you know, and he got ready to try to grab it, and in the process, not intentionally, not meaning to, but the gun went off, you know, and he dropped, you know. He thought I shot him, and at that point I thought I shot him. So I was like, oh, you know, and I was like, damn. And so I took off. And in my mind, like I said, I didn't know if, you know, I had made contact with him. Yeah, like whatever. I just took off with it. Damn, like, you know, like fuck, like this shit did not go how I planned it. Like I said, world's dumbest criminals. Like, do not do this do not try this at home. But yeah, so I I got away. Me and my co-defendant both. You know, we both got away. The cops ended up investigating it. And they ended up putting the track fire out for me and my co-defendant because they had cameras, and they found my co-defendant first. And he ended up throwing me under the bus. You know, gave the cops my my social media, my housing address, and all this stuff. Like, so I ended up getting caught 2 months later. 2 months later, they arrested me, warrant for me and everything, and they charged me with a robbery. Like I said, because I robbed a dude, and then they gave me a gun enhancement because I used a pistol, and then inflicting great bodily injury because I pistol whipped him. And yeah. I split his skin on his nose. So, yeah.
Hey, let me ask you. I have another question from a user that goes by the name of the Art Laws, and wants to know what are your plans. What are your plans for the future?
Oh man, I have a lot, man. Like I said, my plans, if I was still who I was back then, obviously they would have been a lot different. But right now, they're all very, very productive, like as far as long-term career goals, what I'm planning to do for like my hobbies and stuff like that. So when I get out, I mean, as far as my career goes, I'm trying to get in I'm going to get into commercial truck driving, go to school for it, get certified, and just do that for, you know, for a couple of years because I know they pay really good and it's an easy job for a felon to get into. So that's as far as the career aspect goes, but I still want to pursue, you know, college and little hobbies on the side. Like being in here all the time, you appreciate the small things. So, I mean, I just really, you know, I can't wait. I want to, like, try out different things, you know, photography, dance, art, you know, I love music. So, you know, probably, like, getting, like, a studio, make beats, you know, produce music, just, like, I'm really ready for anything, you know, but just for sure keeping myself surrounded with positive people, like-minded people who are, you know, ambitious, want to go somewhere, know what they want, and just, yeah, just really try to stay away from the, you know, the drug scene, the gang scene, and just really just try to, for sure, I plan on getting involved with, like, nonprofit work. Like, I have a friend out there in my city where I'm paroling to, he's in a position to help me get back into going to the juveniles and to speak to the kids, you know, and getting back to the dudes in the county. And eventually, once I get cleared of parole, I know I'll be able to come back into the prisons, and that's really, really what I want to do. Not just that, but just any nonprofit work where, like, you know, helping foster kids or, you know, helping the homeless or going volunteering at shelters and stuff like that. Just basically just giving back, you know.
And the same individual, the Art Laws, wrote "Start studying for the test now." Let me ask you. So I know right there in Centinela, they offer some college courses. Were you able to get involved in those courses or not?
Well, throughout my entire term, like Coastline College, I had completed how many classes? I completed, because I have 36. I think like 8 courses. No, 9 courses. I completed 9 courses, college courses, in my term, but that's throughout like a span of, like I said, the whole time I've been down, because my whole term up until I started trying to like turn my life around, I was just in and out of ADSEC and transferring prisons, and so I never really had enough stability to be able to try to pursue college in a real aspect. So I have, though, like I said, but it's always been in gaps and increments. Like, you know, it's never been for long periods. But here at Centinela, like right now, I'm currently in a vocational auto body and paint. So, you know, I'm back there painting and stuff. Like, I'm not really into it, but I do it because I'm assigned there, you know, and I know maybe it's a good little side hustle when I go home. But as far as college here, like, I'm too close to going home now to where I can't participate in college. But they do have a bachelor program here through San Diego State University, and my celly, he's actually a student in the San Diego State University bachelor program. So, yeah.
You know what? And when we talked a few days ago, you had mentioned something I found kind of interesting, that you've been to a certain amount of prisons. How many prisons have you been to on your stay now?
8 prisons. Yeah, I started in it's crazy, man, because I literally because I never traveled like that when I was outside of prison as a kid, and make jokes about it here, like, bro, I think I've done more traveling to prisons than I ever did on the street. But I started in Tracy, Dual Vocational Institution, DVI, and then from there I went on to San Quentin State Prison, and then from there California State Prison, Solano. And after there, the Correctional Training Facility in Soledad, California. And then from there, CRC, the California Rehabilitation Center for Men in Norco, California. And then from there, the California Institution for Men in Chino. And then after that, I landed in the prison where my mom's was at, the Valley State Prison in Chachila. And from there, I went here to Manila.
So you pretty much average about a prison a year, right?
Basically, yeah. Like every prison when I started, like I said, because it was coming in, I was just, like I said, just the white mentality and whatever. Like I'm not gonna, like, I'm gonna do what I want. If I'm gonna do this time, I'm gonna do what I want with it. I'm not gonna listen to nobody, and I'm just whatever. So getting in fights, batteries, just getting in trouble, getting put in ADSEG, getting 812, with like having enemies and getting shipped to another prison and going and stirring up ruckus there, and then the time comes where end up in the hole again, get transferred to another one. So and just up and down, just different settings, dorm settings, cell setting, and just different environments, different yards, different layouts. So it's just every prison I've been to none of them I can say are like exactly the same. They all have like their own little energy and their own their own demeanor.
Hey, and what's the highest points that you reached in the system when you're staying in California?
70. Which honestly technically is not. I used to at one point used to think that was high, but that's nothing near like you're able to get like 100, and I don't even know what the specific number is. Like you're able to get like triple digits, but that's like for those dudes that are just really just ruthless and just really stuck in those ways, and because the lowest you could be obviously is one, there's different levels: level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, and then even on the level 4. There's the 270 design level 4, and then the 180 design level 4.
And just for having cases as a juvenile and ending up in YA, all of that bumps up your points. So when you originally hit the system, what level were you designated to?
Well, really level 4, but when I came in, they I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but they had the youth offender program. California had started this statewide youth offender program. So if you were level 4, they weren't, even if you were like, you were getting in trouble, whatever, if you were in reception and you were a level 4, but you were a youth offender, then they would send you to a level 3 to give you a chance. And then if you were level 3, they would give you a chance to go to a level 2. And then the same thing with the level 2s. If you were level 2, they'd let you go to level 1. So when I initially started, they gave me the opportunity to go to a level 3. But when I was in there sitting, they gave me behavioral because my whole time in reception, reception was locked down. So that was the one thing that benefited me, because the whole time I was in reception, there was no getting in trouble, no 115s, no nothing like that. So I was able to get, on top of the wild P, I was able to get a behavioral override. So basically, he hasn't gotten in trouble here, whatever, it's his first prison term. So he could be trusted to go to a programming facility, like a really good facility, and which is why they sent me to San Quentin initially. And I fucked that off immediately. Maybe within 4 or 5 months, I got kicked out of San Quentin.
Hey, so I know right now we're about to get hit with that like in about 2 minutes we're about to get the notification that our call is about to come to an end. So I want to go ahead and give you this
Yeah.
opportunity. Is there any message that you want to give out to our audience? We got about 20 people watching on TikTok, and then we have another 5 people watching over there on YouTube. Anything that you want to share with them before we part ways?
Um, Honestly, I would just like there's a whole lot, but I would just say I think the biggest thing that I've take away from like my current predicament and what it is I'm trying to do and strive for, like in here and when I get out, is just paying it forward. Just anytime. It took me long to see, just anytime you wanna, whether it's physically, verbally, emotionally, whenever you wanna like, have it at somebody, or you disagree with someone, or you kind of wanna like go at somebody, just like, I don't know, I've learned like you don't, you can never. That's violence breeds violence, just like that quote says, hate breeds hate, love breeds love. Just like, it took me a long time to learn that, that violence.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
It ain't ever gonna lead anywhere good, So I would say just like always just try to pay it forward, even if you don't feel like it, even if you don't feel like someone's deserving of it, just really just try your best to bite your tongue and keep your hands to yourself, just keep your words to yourself, just how they say, you don't got something nice to say, don't say it at all. Just it's pretty much like what I would say right now. Yeah, that's like the best thing I could think.
All right, cool, man. Well, I appreciate you calling in. We'll probably be. I'm not sure if you're available tomorrow, but if you are, let's go ahead and set something up. I'll send you some messages. And like I say around here, life's like a candle. Once you blow it out, it's lights out. And with that, we are out.
Go on.